I think first and foremost for me regarding the trip, everything you have heard, if you had not been to China, you talked about the size, the scope, how much economy and commerce is happening. Representative Richardson, of course, has been on a number of trips, and I would say, at first talked us into. But after having been there, you really get a sense for, when you see the enormity of commerce happening, that we need to promote this. We need to pursue and promote, because the opportunities are vast. When you talk to the people, and for example, at the CFIT conference, when you're there talking to people both from China and around the world, you realize there is an opportunity to attract business to Oregon. When you also realize that China is our largest single export destination, and that we are a net exporter, and you look at the size of the opportunity that's still out there, you know that we have to do, despite the job we are doing, we have to do a better job. We have to be more aggressive at our talking about getting there. Secondly, I think, well, there's a couple of things, but in addition, talking about tourism in China is interesting. People there definitely are interested in visiting the United States. They're definitely interested in visiting Oregon. But if you stand up in front of a group of people and you have that conversation, they're polite and they listen, and you can see that they're receptive to the idea. Privately, you get off to the side and you have a conversation, and they say, well, it's nice of you to come and invite us, but this whole process of getting a visa is an impediment to getting there. Exactly. And so we had a little bit of an opportunity offline to visit with the embassy folks and say, hey, look, what are we going to do? What are we going to continue to do to make a difference in this process? And it's very frustrating to see that there's pent-up demand to come here, but the whole visa thing is still a little bit difficult. So that's an issue, I think. To the degree that we have an opportunity to influence that, we've got to talk about it. Dennis and I, Representative Richardson and I, spent time on the bus one day. I scooted back next to him. I said, Dennis, what are we going to do here? Every time I have a conversation with somebody here who says I want to visit, this same topic comes up. So it's something we've just got to continue to work on. Jen mentioned the school visit. What he failed to mention is I played a little one-on-one while we were there. That was one of my highlights. We showed up at the high school there. It was a tremendous opportunity to visit with students. First of all, there was about 5,000 students on the field doing what we would call PE, but they were doing exercise in one location, all lined up, all in uniform. And it's a daily activity. It's not something that you elect to do or elect to participate in. It's part of the daily classroom. So when we got there, that was what was happening. And each of us as a delegate was assigned 2 people, and Jen mentioned that. But the significance of seeing students who are working at a level, they're working hard. I mean, these kids, their school is like a job. That was my impression. But they were engaging, they wanted to visit, they spent the time to talk to you. And when you think about the fact that we're there building relationships, in my mind, no better place than to start in these schools and hopefully work on educational exchange opportunities specific to our Confucius training in our classrooms here, that maybe we can expand on the exchange opportunities. And I think that's the way that we're going to long-term develop much more in terms of relationships. So overall, from my standpoint, it's a grueling trip to spend that many days gone, and the travel within the country, place to place to place, takes a bit of a toll. But I could not be happier with just my own learning and kind of getting into the learning curve about what's there, the opportunities, and even the presentation that I think we need to improve on when we are out there selling Oregon. One of the terms we I don't know if we coined it, but it came up over and over and over, was we're a duty-free state. and when you have that conversation, I mean, every airport you go to is like, come to the duty-free section. what you realize is we are a duty-free state. And when you talk about tourism in China, you know, that really rings true. When you say no sales tax, it doesn't have the same, I guess, maybe the same translation. But when you say duty-free state and say you can come buy everything here that way in terms of tourism, it was well received.